So, Kirsty, thank you so much for taking the time today. So we could just start by getting a quick introduction to yourself, your role, the organization, but also if you could talk a little bit about how volunteers play a part.
So my name's Kirsty. I'm the volunteering and community fundraising manager for Jerry Green Dog Rescue. Jerry Green Dog Rescue has been around for over 60 years, helping rehome and rescue dogs. So we have centres within North Lincolnshire, South Lincolnshire and Nottinghamshire, and we have a community team out in East Yorkshire. So we're quite widespread in terms of where we are. Volunteers play a crucial role to what we do, from fostering our dogs. If we didn't have foster carers, then we wouldn't be able to help as many dogs as we do. Also, our volunteers help within our centres. So not just walking the dogs, but more, the more important roles of being the end of the phone. So in administration, greeting people as they come into the centre. We have people helping in our administration, which is great. We have one volunteer that helps with Volunteero, so that's really brilliant. We have 5 charity shops, and they are run by volunteers. So a good 70% of our volunteer force is charity shops, and we only employ 1 full-time equivalent staff member per shop. So they're open 6 days from 9 a.m. So the rest is completely volunteer led.
Amazing. Right. Yeah. So they're very, very important team. So that's really helpful. And that kind of covered the second point I was going to ask. No, Kirsty, please go for it. And so before you came to Volunteero, how were you managing volunteers and what were some of the challenges you were facing?
So before Volunteero, we were managing our volunteers through spreadsheets, and it was a nightmare, from, obviously the application to the referencing to getting them started with various managers, booking their inductions in. Each centre had its own, or each, department had their own spreadsheet, and it was just really difficult to manage on such a large scale, and make sure that we keep on top of it was the difficulty. We just found ourselves drowning in those spreadsheets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we hear that kind of thing a lot, actually. Yeah, we've heard the term spreadsheet of doom was
yes.
One of our said before. And so if you can think back to when you first sort of started engaging with Volunteero, maybe before you actually signed up, what was it that, piqued your interest? What did you like about Volunteero, the team, the platform?
I really liked the team. I really liked how the team were really great in the onboarding. So all the way, I was very supported along the whole way, from the help videos that we could access. We had Jen that we could just reach out to and ask questions whenever. She put a series of training sessions on for us, and still would, I can still go out to her and ask. So I think for me, that was really important, that we had a system that we could not only see it being useful, that we actually know how to use it properly as well and use it to its full potential. So for me, that was really, really important. Also having it on an application that anybody can access, so everybody could have access to that, and see what stage volunteers are at in terms of their onboarding or their journey with us. So that was really important to us, that it didn't just feel like it was just us on our own anymore. It felt like we could have it as the whole of Jerry Green could get involved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Bringing everything sort of central. So yeah, absolutely. And so what would you say are kind of some of the key outcomes you've seen in terms of maybe some kind of improvements across the board?
The biggest thing that I didn't necessarily expect, and I don't know why I didn't expect it, I guess you kind of drown in your own, the way that you've always done it, and you don't really see the wood for the trees in that way. But the biggest thing for us was the recruitment. So having the form on the website that as soon as somebody applied, it went straight through to Volunteero, and the process that you go through when you're onboarding somebody is so quick. The automatic references are a really good feature for us. We're finding we're getting, I think, one person within, well, not more than one person. We've had a few where the references are coming back within the day, and we can get them straight started. So we're finding that our I mean, we haven't necessarily done the whole cost analysis in terms of looking at how much time it saves, but it is a good 60% of time that we're saving through using Volunteero. You know, once somebody is applying, we've got full handle on it all. They're getting automated replies on their journey as well. So what we would have wasted time on before would have been chasing and looking back at those dreaded spreadsheets to see what process they're at or what we're doing and whether we've got references back, and the mountains of paperwork that went with that. We're finding, because it's all in one place, just a quick look at someone's record and we know exactly where they're at.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Love that. Yeah. And how have your kind of existing volunteers found the transition?
Some of them found it quite difficult because it's a digital. We're going across to digital. I think the new guys that are coming on board, obviously that's all they've ever known.
Yeah.
And they're liking the process of, I think the referencing, as I've said before, is something that's a huge amount of difference. And also being able to schedule in the missions. So that's really, really helped that, especially when we're going out and about to events, we're finding that people can look at the events in advance.
Yeah, and kind of plan their own time and things like that.
Yeah,
I completely agree. That was one of the key things for us, especially when we thought about bringing it into an app and things, was that people are busy, right? And I think we're doing them a courtesy of giving them the ability to be as flexible as they possibly can. Right. Well, you've mentioned the references, so I'll ask maybe if you have another one to mind. What would you say is one of your favorite features?
I really like the forms. So the form features is that we can create. So what we're doing is part of our induction process is now becoming online, and we're doing that through being able to put our volunteer agreement through a form. We're even introducing where when somebody's done an induction, they're going to a QR code to scan, which then takes them to the form to say, I've had my induction, and they can digitally scan it. Once upon a time, that would have been in some folder, emailed across and tried to save somewhere, whereas actually being able to use that so it's so instant and it hits our inbox and it hits, and we can attach it to their record, is something that I really, really like. And I think that's probably because that's the area that we struggled with, was the amount of paperwork and forms and spreadsheets. That simplified, making it as simplified as what it is something that for me is a key feature. I know that Volunteer has lots of features. I think the chat is also really good. We can put we put down our weekly updates on there. We put our policies and procedures on there. We put our handbook on there, so it's all there for the volunteers to reference and look to. So yeah, they're the really good things that we're finding useful.
Yeah, no, totally understand. And it's always going to be those ones that make your lives the most noticeably different at the end of the day, isn't it? And I must say, you probably are up there for the top badges award, like the badges, the names. I don't know who's the very witty person on your team that comes up with them, but they're fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we've talked about for using more this year. So we've got rewards and recognition for our volunteers, and the badges are something that we're really going to use to help with that, because we can award it to the volunteers so easily throughout the year, so that it feels like there is that recognition there for the things that they contribute.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kirsty. You've been a superstar. Really, really enjoyed this conversation, and looking forward to working with you for the years to come.
Thank you.